Hi, I'm Keith Cooper from Northlight Images, and in this short video I'm just going to give an overview of the new Epson P700 printer. I've written a long and detailed review, covers all the different aspects of using the printer, different types of prints and whatever, and also I've written articles about setting up the printer, and there's a video also about making extra long prints where I've made a 3.9 meter panoramic print using the roll paper attachment at the back here. The Epson P700 is an all-new printer. It follows on from the older P600 but has a new ink system, upgraded inks, a whole lot of differences from the old one to the new one. It's also quite a bit smaller and lighter as well, and it's very much designed to look okay on your desk. And this is it with everything folded up, and you see it is just a black box that's going to sit there. Now, paper normally will go in the rear feed here. This has been changed from the P600 in that the paper is center feeding. So you set the width up to 13 inches or A3 plus here, load your sheets up here, and in they go, and they go through the printer. If you're using photo papers, lighter papers, you can put several sheets on, but if you're using art papers, just one sheet at a time. For heavier art papers though, you're probably going to want to use the front feed, which I'll pull that down there, and this is where the paper goes in for front loading. It's also where you would feed in poster board. It takes poster board up to 1.6 mil, and there is an attachment for printing CDs, DVDs. This goes in with a printable CD on it. Use the software that's provided by Epson, makes layer much easier. In it goes, gets prints, comes out, and there is your CD. The grill here supports outgoing prints. We'll just push that back in, and this is where your prints come out. For heavier papers and front feed use, you do have to push this back because the print comes out here. It comes out the back first, then runs through the printer. Now the printer itself, if I open up the lid here, if you've got a P600 you'll notice immediately there are more inks. These cartridges, which are 25 mil capacity, if I just press that, out comes a cartridge. You load them up when you start and they just click in place like that. I'd note also, if you're used to using older Epson printers, that we have matte black, photo black installed at the same time, and there is no matte black, photo black switching anymore. You used to have to switch inks when you went from using photo papers to matte art papers. No longer do you have to do that. There's 10 inks and all, and there's also a violet ink added at the end here, which gives a slight improvement to colour gamut. The printer itself is controlled via this flip-up touchscreen. It's actually a rather nice quality screen there, and it's useful. It shows pictures of your prints underway and can be used for all kinds of other things. Here at the rear of the printer, we've got the roll paper attachment, but I'd also just note before that this slot. This is where paper comes out, or board if you're printing on poster board. It comes out before being drawn through the printer to print. That means that if you've got the printer up against a wall and you try using the front loader, stuff will come out here and bang against the wall. Does not do the printer much good at all. Comes out to about here for an A3 sheet, so quite a bit of space required. Now I can fold this panel down, and this is the roll paper adapter. Pull this out. The roll paper fits here, Notice there's no spindle. There's a spindleless adapter. There are rollers here where the paper goes on. Paper goes in and goes into the printer and through and out to the front. Now you adjust the width, goes there up to 13-inch or A3 plus size. Roll paper here, you've got a fair amount of space, but you are limited with what will fit on this device here. You can put that and put that back there. I'd note that if you're interested in roll paper printing, there's quite a bit about it in the review. There's also a separate video I've made about roll paper printing, including making a 3.9 meter print using this printer. This is the print, all 3.9 meters of it. I won't roll it out, but printed very easily, no problems at all. So you're limited to, I think, 18 meters maximum. The paper comes in 10 meter rolls, so if you want an 18 meter print, you're going to need to find some different paper, but just feeds in through here, works really well. One other bit I just note on the back here is this panel here slides off, folds out I should say, and we've got the USB connection. There's also an Ethernet connection here. The printer has also got wireless built into it, so it can join a wireless network, and you can print directly to it from wireless enabled devices, so phones and tablets, and all the usual functionality is available through that. During my testing, I've made rather a lot of prints on this printer. This is just a few of them, but a few quick examples just to give you a feel of what you can do with the printer. Here's a print printed on poster board, 1.6mm thick. This happens to be a map of the streets around where I live, just after the house was built in 1890. So most of the houses are still here, and there's a lot less empty space. Here's a panoramic print, so I've done much longer, black and white print. This is underneath the Humber Bridge. Printed using black and white print mode. As you can see, fairly big margins at the end here. You have to trim this yourself, so I prefer to print with slightly larger and then trim precisely afterwards. You can do it, but remember the printer itself doesn't have a cutter at all, which can cause problems. Normal print, normal black and white print. This one's using the black and white print mode again. This is using the Epson print layout software, which is well worth trying, particularly if you're printing from applications like Affinity Photo or something, which has slightly limited printing capabilities. I use it from Photoshop, or you can use it as a standalone piece of software. Can give very good results with that. Borderless print. These are the steps at Wells Cathedral leading up to the chapter house, on a fairly heavy art paper. Borderless print on lustre paper. This is a Baryta style paper. Nice good colour range, much as you'd expect of a modern printer. Once again, using a matte paper. You can use pre-cut panoramic papers as well. These are pre-cut sheets. There's a view of Harbour in Cornwall, view of the Lake District. You need to set the paper size as a custom paper size, but then you print normally. You just print whatever. I would note that as you go for larger panoramic prints, you will find them harder and harder to mount and display. So do think about the mounting display side of that before you just launch out making giant prints. Giant prints are fun to make, but difficult to put in place. Lots more prints. I won't go into all the details. Here's one using Epson print layout where I've used the multi-shot thing. But all in all, a nice printer. You won't find it a massive step up from the P600, because for it to be a massive step up would suggest that the P600 was in somehow deficient. I like using it. I would say if you have a perfectly good working 600, you need to want the roll paper and various features of this quite a bit to go out and upgrade straight away. If you've got an older printer or an office type printer, then this potentially is a great step forward. But remember that great prints need good photos. This printer is good enough that if you can't make great looking prints with it, it's not the printer's fault. It's almost certainly your fault. It's either your photography's no good or your editing's no good. So you can blame the printer if you like, but these days printers are good enough that, myself included, if I can't make a good looking print, it's not the printer's fault, it's my fault. However, fun trying. These videos, which I hope people find useful, are a relatively new feature on the Northlight Images website. If you find the videos of help, please do let me know, because it's a relatively new experience for me. I'm a stills photographer, so I'm still getting up to speed on video. But any feedback is welcome. But I would say the videos are always secondary to the lengthy written reviews. So have a read of all the written stuff on the website if you want the real detail. Thank you.